So I'm going to walk you really quickly through the textbook example 12.5.33 on the normal curve. And just a quick review, a reminder of what the normal curve is. So let's say you've got a bunch of test scores. Okay, most of your test scores are going to fall somewhere here around the middle, okay, right? The mean of your test scores. And obviously, you know, you're going to have some people who did better than average. So those people are going to be in smaller number. That's why the curve gets smaller over on the right-hand side. And then, of course, you're going to have people who didn't do as well as the average, who did below average, and they're going to fall on the left-hand side of the average. So a negative z-score means that you did below the mean, below average, and then a positive z-score means that you did better than average, you did higher than the mean. So in this example, that is involving a z-score of negative 1.10, here I'm going to redraw the curve. So again, here is where your mean is, or your average score, and so a negative 1.10 is going to represent a score that is less than average. That's why it's a negative z-score. So the question is asking us what percent of the scores were above a negative 1.10. So what percent of the scores were all this side of the curve to the right, because that's where the bigger numbers are, so bigger than negative 1.10. So we need to use the table that is given to us to figure that out. And because it's a negative z-score, we're going to click on table 1 because that's where the negative scores are. Now, notice what this table is telling us. This table is telling us the area under the curve to the left of the z-score. Now, we don't want the numbers that are to the left of the z-score. We want the numbers that are to the right because we want the ones that are bigger. But we're going to use the information to figure out the ones that are bigger. So I'm going to look here. I'm going to scroll down to 1.10. So on the table, I see right here, negative 1.1 is the exact same thing as negative 1.10. So I'm just going to look at this first column. Let me show you why. Let me scroll up so you can see what's at the top of this column. So see right up here at the top, this is where it's 0. So that's where I'm going to do 1.10. So if I go down here to 1.1, and because we want 1.10, that's why we're going to choose this portion of the chart right here. So you see I've got the number 0.1357. So what that means, because the table told us that's the area to the left, so that means 0.1357. Okay, 1,357 10,000ths is what that is. It's a tiny percent, falls to the left. Now we want, obviously, because the question is asking us for the ones that are above, okay, we want the ones to the right. So we're simply going to do 1 minus 0.1357, and that gives us 0.8643. And of course, the question is asking us for a percent. So in order to get the percent, we move the decimal over 2 places to the right. So that means that 86.43% of the scores fall to the right of negative z-score 1.10.